So I actually just got done about 40 minutes of cardio and steady state cardio. I don't do HIIT. I'm going to explain that later in this video. Okay, so I'm wearing this stopwatch. Somebody asked me what was around my neck in one of my videos. It's a stopwatch. I use my stopwatch to time my workouts and to time my rest periods when I'm doing weightlifting and things like that. So essentially, there's this thing called the interference effect. And what the interference effect is it states that when you do cardio, it decreases your ability to gain strength. And this is true, but to a certain extent. And I'm going to explain why I don't think this really matters at all for the average person. And it doesn't matter for bodybuilders. And I'm going to explain why. Okay, so the thing is, there's this thing called the interference effect. This is also partially true of flexibility training. Okay, doing static stretching allegedly decreases the strength of the muscles. Okay, and it does to some extent. It might not give you the strength gains that you would normally get by just lifting weights. However, strength is not the only hallmark of longevity. Okay, just like there's hallmarks of aging, there's hallmarks of longevity. Okay, so let me see. Like if you look down, you need to be strong, you need to be flexible, and you need to have strong cardiorespiratory power to live a long time. So there was a guy, Frank Zane. He's a he is a professional well, not anymore, but he was a professional bodybuilder, but he is still alive. And he's now 76, I think, and he did a thing about now that he's 74, back when he was 74, he wanted to know how long professional bodybuilders tended to live. Well, back in the day, they did live on average, I think, into their early 90s. So bodybuilding, which provides, now this is the thing, bodybuilding does provide, especially the way the classic bodybuilders trained, it provides strength training, cardio training, and flexibility training all in one. And they tend to live longer than the average person. Now that they're putting everything into their bodies and you have these supersized bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman and things like that, but I'm talking about the golden age era bodybuilders and the bronze age era bodybuilders and the silver age, age bodybuilders. What you had a prudent diet, you had a healthy amount of strength training, a healthy amount of flexibility training, a healthy amount of cardio training. You need cardio training to keep your body fat percentage down and to keep your cardiovascular system healthy. Now, why don't I do HIIT? Now, all this stuff like HIIT might have less of an effect on your on the interference effect. It might make you more able to gain strength gains than if you did steady state cardio. That's what they're saying. Well, the reason why, and I go back to like Greg Doucette makes a good point about how you should not be in pain after a cardio workout. You shouldn't be being sore after a weightlifting routine or tired after a weightlifting routine. That's, that can be common, but being in pain, physical pain, where you don't want to get out of bed and you can't walk and things like that. If you notice, and all these links are in the description, both HIIT and CrossFit, two things that I'm very much against, because they do not favor good form. CrossFit, when CrossFit came out, see, I'm a karate guy, and in karate, we make sure that we do our push-ups correctly. I don't speak correctly, but we make sure we do our push-ups correctly, we do our sit-ups correctly, we do our stretches correctly, we do our kicks and punches correctly, we do our blocks correctly, we do our throws correctly, we do our grabs correctly, we do everything correctly, proper technique, all the time. With CrossFit, it looks somewhat like a seizure, okay? And the same thing is true with HIIT. It's not putting enough emphasis on the proper technique, which results in injuries to the rotator cuff, injuries to the knees, injuries to the ankles, and this is the thing with exercise. If you get hurt and you can't exercise, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter how great HIIT is if it incapacitates you for 4 weeks. Because in that 4 weeks, you're not making any gains in your performance, are you? No, you're not. So it's better to take a slower and more steady approach. Now, one of the systems of exercise that I don't do enough of it, but I may begin. I went to a karate tournament on last Saturday, and while I was at this tournament, I met an old acquaintance of mine, and he is thinking about incorporating a class for senior citizens in what's called tactical self-defense. It's our system of self-defense that we created from the concepts of the military, particularly the Marine Corps, and of the basically the Tung Sudo and Hapkido that we know as the Korean martial arts. So it's a system of aggressive self-defense and Qigong. Qigong is a system of energy cultivation. Now, the Chinese and other Eastern people have a very different approach of how to approach fitness. They approach it in a slow, steady state. Everything is done in a slow, steady state. Even aggressive exercises like iron palm or iron body, it's done very slowly, very progressively. In the West, we like to rush things, and we tend to get injured. And if you're getting injured, it affects your ability to live longer. So when you're promoting exercise for longevity, you need to consider the fact that you want to promote longevity. And one of the ways to promote longevity is to be consistent, not aggressive, consistently moving forward in an a better performance trajectory is how you increase your lifespan. Because aggressive exercise does increase the lifespan. I mean, not the lifespan, the health span. So you have to remember that exercise is very important to improving health outcomes as you get older and even as you're younger. Look at how many fat kids there are and how many bad looking, like just disgusting people there are walking around because nobody is taking diet seriously and nobody is taking their health seriously anymore. One of the links is to a gentleman named Bill Pearl, a playlist of Bill Pearl videos. Bill Pearl was a lacto-ovo vegetarian and still is. He's like 96, I think, now. But he was another professional bodybuilder. And the reason that he went vegetarian is when he did a blood test at his job, he found out from his bodybuilding diet, which was, of course, meat heavy, his cholesterol was dangerously high. Despite being in wonderful physical condition from the bodybuilding, he wasn't in such great physical condition in his heart, arteries, and veins. So what he did is he switched his diet to a vegetarian diet and got healthy. Okay, so a prudent vegetarian diet, a prudent plant-based diet, at least 90% vegetarian, ideally 100% vegan, strict vegetarian, and supplement it properly with the B vitamins, etc., seems to be what promotes longevity, especially in these blue zones and things like that. There's a wonderful young lady, she's a scientist named Morgan Levine, and I'm going to give a link to a video of her answering questions on aging, and one of them is about plant-based diet. And this idea that these blue zones have been debunked, you can't debunk fact. Okay, you can't debunk things that are actually observably true, and that's what the blue zones are, is they're observably true. And there's also a lot of clinical evidence now showing that plant-based diets reverse things like heart disease and help to improve longevity and things of that nature. So you have to keep everything in mind. So my view on the interference effect is, as a martial artist, when we do karate, now in karate you do tend to get hurt because you're getting kicked and punched and throwing people, and you tend to get sprained wrists and ankles and broken bones sometimes because you're hitting bricks and boards and whatnot. So you tend to get beaten up pretty badly in karate. However, from an exercise standpoint, we're burning the candle at all ends here. What do I mean by all ends? Not both ends, all ends. Strength, flexibility, and cardio all at once. And if people take their martial arts, the physical activity of martial arts seriously, it's a very, very significant benefit to their physical condition. Now, I did a video years back about why so many karate instructors are fat lard asses. Well, the reason why is because when people become instructors, and this is one of the reasons I don't like teaching, is because it really takes the thunder out of you. It takes the spark out of you. I might take this volunteer position. I want a volunteer position. I don't want to get locked into anything because it's like my ability to work is shot. So I don't want to get the dude's hopes up. But the thing is, what you got to understand is a lot of these karate instructors, the reason you see so many fat karate guys is because they do not follow the Okinawan diet, number one. They do not participate in aggressive martial arts training anymore. They're not doing the running, the kicking, the jumping, the blocking, the kicking, the punching. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing everything that they need to do. They might break some boards or break some bricks, which actually doesn't take that much strength, believe it or not. Because you generate a lot of, because the way the techniques are done, you do generate a lot of power. A weaker person can generate a pretty significant amount of power if they know what they're doing. And the benefit of a brick or a board is it's not going to run away from you. So you can get in a nice low, steady stance and generate. You can do a perfect technique against a stationary object like that because it ain't going anywhere. It's not running away and it's not trying to hit you. Although the idea that brick no hit back, as they said in, was a kickboxer or Bloodsport, one of them Van Damme movies, brick no hit back, that is a lie. If you do not hit that thing properly and do not follow through, it hit back. It break hand. It hurt bad. Okay? But my point is that's the reason you see a lot of fat martial arts instructors. A lot of times in the grappling systems, you'll see that, like Hapkido. Although Hapkido does have a lot of kicks, but like Hapkido, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, you'll see a lot of overweight instructors. And the reason why is because they're not prioritizing their physical fitness like they should be. But martial arts does involve all levels of physical fitness. Do I recommend people use martial arts as a means to gain physical fitness? Not particularly. I think that it is actually better. It depends on your personality. Martial arts for me is the only thing that got me off my ass and then got me to pursue fitness in other ways because other things were pretty boring. But I do think that doing cardio, steady state cardio, doing calisthenics like chin ups, pull ups, push ups, sit ups, etc., and Pilates. I think Pilates, this is the thing with the interference effect. Okay, you got systems of exercise, not just martial arts, yoga, Pilates, these things, they incorporate strength and flexibility. Maybe not cardio, but strength and flexibility. And they do incorporate cardio in one way. They incorporate it through the breathing techniques in in yoga, like the pranayama yoga, and also with the Pilates. They're very big on the breathing methods. And that's all for this video. Do follow the links in the description. It might be interesting to you. It shows you what the interference effect is, all that, but it also shows you don't want to, I don't think you should be taking this serious. A normal person should not take the interference effect seriously at all. It's best to burn the candle at all ends. It's best to be patient, and it's best to work on a consistent upward trajectory of performance. And that's all for this video.